Am I the asshole for refusing to let my mom use my makeup products? 19. Did my mom's 56 makeup yesterday for fun. She ended up really liking how I was able to cover up her dark spots and asked me what I used. I told her it was a color corrector that I bought in Korea. She then asked me to explain it to her, because she wanted to use it from now on too. I went through and explained how each color is meant to correct another, basically just told her I used the peachy color to correct her dark spots. She then says, I'm going to use it tomorrow before I leave for church in the morning. I tell her, please wake me up and have me put it on you. I was extremely nervous about this because she has a history of using my makeup without asking me, and 99% of the time she uses products incorrectly and damages them. So, I told her I'd rather she not use mine at all, but if she insisted, to have me there to make sure she doesn't fuck up my products that I paid for. As I'm going to bed, I consider hiding my color corrector before sleeping so that no matter what she won't use it without my supervision. However, I decide to trust her and go to bed. The morning rolls around and I wake up to see her already rummaging through my products in my room. I say, did you already use my color corrector? And she says, yeah. I bolt up and look at it and am horrified to find that she's done everything I was scared she'd do. She didn't know how much of the product to use, so she overshot and now there are 2 humongous craters in the product. She also mixed the 2 colors that are in the product. The green is supposed to counteract redness and the peach is supposed to counteract dark spots. She mixed both together, so now the entire product is just this ugly, muddy mess. I asked her why she used it when I explicitly told her 100 times to make sure I was awake and supervising her, and she told me that she tried to wake me up and I didn't respond, so she just went ahead and used it. I said, if I didn't respond, then you should have put it down? How am I supposed to use this now? ? And she told me I was overreacting and to hurry up and give her more of my products before she left. I told her to get out of my room and kicked her out. She yelled at me, saying that I was overreacting over nothing and slammed my door on her way out. I spent the morning crying in frustration. It's not like she was asleep while I did her makeup with the color corrector. She saw me use it and literally had me explain it. Never once did I even touch the green colored corrector, so why did she go and mix them? Not to mention, can't she see the product clearly has the color separated into their own sections? You can see from the fact there is no mixing that I've used this product intentionally not mixing the colors. Significant other WHY, would she think that it would be a good idea to mix them? Am I the asshole and reacting over nothing? Not the asshole. She needs to pay you back the cost of everything she ruined, because it sounds like she wouldn't know what to buy to replace it, and unfortunately you're going to have to keep all of your makeup in a bag that stays in your room or somewhere she can't find it. It might help to go to the beauty store together and have an employee there explain and demo color correctors for her, and she can buy one for herself with her own money if she likes it. Maybe hearing the proper way to use a product like that from another adult that isn't her daughter would stick a bit better? Either way, she isn't entitled to your belongings that you bought and paid for, and she needs to learn that. I cringe on your behalf about the mixing colors in the palette and incorrect use. I, too, would be pissed if anyone handled my very expensive makeup that way. I'm fussy over brands. Is it a case of you only need to scrape off the top mixed bit of the color, or is it a creamier color corrector that she went overkill on and is not salvageable? Your mom crossed a boundary that you were allowed to have. So for not letting your mom use your makeup, not the asshole. You probably need to clear the air, chat, as acting out of anger wasn't great either. When doing that, remind your mom it isn't recommended to share makeup for hygiene reasons. You need to hide your cosmetics from your mother, of all people. She clearly doesn't respect your stated boundaries. Treat her like a child cuz she's acting like a child. Hide, lock up your stuff. 2 things. Never believe your mother again and always lock up your makeup. Not the asshole. Tell her she ruined them and make her reimburse you the full cost. What the fuck, loudly crying I'm sorry, but is your mother an idiot? I'm trying to understand her thought process here and it makes absolutely no sense. Has she never owned makeup in her life? Why on earth would you go and destroy it like that? I have so many questions. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, yikes. Your mom doesn't respect other people's things at all. You offered to do it for her too. Yay, not the asshole, she needs to learn to respect your stuff and how you want to share it. Am I the asshole for telling my parents that I don't want to live with them during visits? I, 26F, grew up in a very toxic environment in my home. My parents got married young and my mother got pregnant with me within the year of their marriage. They were definitely not ready for a child and they didn't live near any family. My mother had to leave the job to take care of me and she has hated my father ever since for that, which created a super toxic environment growing up. Every arguments ended with the fact that she had to give up her career and how miserable life has become since then. She would say some pretty harsh stuff to me too regularly, blaming me for everything that is wrong in her life. I moved out as soon as I turned 18 and pretty much only visited for holidays. I have stayed with them whenever I visit for holidays, but this year my husband and I decided to stay separately because we don't want our 1-year-old to be around all the daily arguments and blame game. My parents and cousins have called me as asshole for telling my parents that, according to them, a 1-year can anyway barely understand what is happening and it is just for a week and I only visit them during this Christmas. We spend all the other holidays with my husband's family. I don't know what to do anymore. Pretty much every family member of mine is on my parents' side. Not the asshole. You're doing what's best for your baby and yourself. You grew up in a toxic home, and it's completely fair that you don't want your child around that. Even if they're little, they can feel tension, and it's not healthy. Your family might not get it, but that doesn't make you wrong. You're still visiting, just not staying with your parents, which is a fair choice. You're putting your child first, and that's what matters. Not the asshole. It won't get any easier, so do it now. Next year or the year after, when your child is old enough to understand, they'll tell you, "It was fine last year, why change it now?" There will always be an excuse. Draw and defend your boundaries now. Your family is so accustomed to the toxicity they will probably never understand, but you have to put yourself and your child first. The 1-year-old might barely understand what's happening, but they can absolutely understand there's a fight going on and that people are angry or upset or devastated. That they can't understand what the fight is about does not make it better. If anything, it makes it worse. Cousins need to keep their uninformed noses out of your business, not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your child will most definitely feel the tension and react because of the hostility. Your mom has had 20 years to get back into her career and move on from the anger she still is holding onto. Plus, it sounds like your parents need some therapy to learn how to better deal with each other if they are going to continue to settle to stay together. They are more concerned with the appearance of you not being there than the actual problems they'll cause your child, and I personally wouldn't even want to go for longer than a few hours of a visit if I had to deal with this. Not the asshole. Their feelings are hurt because it doesn't look good to the outside world that you won't stay with them. Well, that's entirely because of their actions, and you are correct to protect your child from them. But there are lots of people with non-problematic families who still prefer staying elsewhere. Different noise levels, different bedtimes, fewer people sharing bathrooms. There are lots of reasons. But please remember that you don't have to visit them at all. Your child need not be subjected to them, nor do you. It seems that it is time for you and your husband to start your own traditions in your own home with friends who have goodwill towards you. Am I the asshole for accepting inheritance from my deadbeat father? I, 19 male, barely remember my real father. The last memory I had was that he was yelling at my mother and I was maybe 6 and hiding under the kitchen table. He was a terrible man with an alcohol problem. One day he fled the country and was never seen again. My mother met my stepfather, who is a great man, and raised me as his own kid. Just a few months ago I received a formal notice from my real father, telling me that my grandmother, his mother, had died, and he didn't expect me to go to the funeral, as I did not even know the lady, but decided to pass her apartment to me. As he was never part of my life, it is least he can do. He doesn't expect me to contact him or anything. He wrote that he knows how terrible he was and nothing can excuse that. I was excited about the fact that I could start my life way easier and told my family about it, and they got really mad at me, telling me how terrible person he was and all, and that is all true. My mother said that he is probably using that to contact me, or even worse, use it to claim that he took care of me, so I have to take care of him when he is old. So I talked with a pro bono lawyer about it and she told me that accepting an inheritance can't be considered paying child support. Which he never did. So if I decide to accept the apartment, it does not oblige me to anything. My parents are still mad at me. My stepfather says I should honor my mother's wish and not accept it, while I believe that it would be stupid to say no and deny a chance to start my life a bit easier than others my age. Am I the asshole for accepting that apartment? Honey, if anyone needs to accept an inheritance, it's the child of a deadbeat dad. Be cautious. I can understand your parents' concerns. I also wonder if they're worried you might feel some care for your father because he let you know of the inheritance and it will lead you to seek a relationship with him. Remind them they are the best parents in the world and you have no desire to replace them. Happy life, my dear heart. Not the asshole. Make sure you cover all your legal bases and make sure bio dad doesn't have any kind of legal loopholes to have access to the apartment once you take ownership. Make sure you can afford any taxes and insurance on the place. Then take it. Never give up organic opportunities just out of spite. Life is hard enough. Sounds like yours was worse than most. No reason to let pride or misguided righteousness hold you back further. Not the asshole. I understand your mom's concerns, and it's important that you reassure her that you won't let that guy worm his way into your life. But at the end of the day, it's not reasonable to expect you to refuse a free apartment with no perceptible strings attached. Not the asshole. Talk to your mother that you love and respect her and that this inheritance is in no way diminishing all the love and support she has given you. That you consider it an inheritance from your grandmother, that you didn't even get to know because your father was such a worthless waste of space. And that you have no intention of ever contacting your father except to remind him of his outstanding child support to your mother. Not the asshole. Info. Do you think they're bothered that this came to you without anything going to them? Not the asshole. Yes, he hurt you and your mother, and this apartment will not change that. However, it can give you a huge advantage as you grow into your adult years. Random thought, but this story is giving me vibes of the movie Coco. A father abandoned the family and they all decided to hold a grudge over it to the detriment of the child because the grudge was more important. Would I be the asshole if I don't call out of work on Christmas Eve to go to family dinner? So 3 weeks ago, I, 20F, started working at Target, and on my second day of work, I had to call out because I woke up throwing up. A team lead talked to me about my call out the next day I came to work. I'm scheduled to work from 9:30 p.m. on Christmas Eve, and my mom isn't happy about that because we are supposed to go to my grandparents' house for dinner like we usually do every year. She told me that I'm going to have to call out, but I don't want to risk getting in trouble since I recently already had a call out. I was also hired as a seasonal worker since that's what they had available, and I'm trying to have them keep me permanently, and if I call out again, especially on a holiday, that will affect my chances of them keeping me. My mom got mad because I said I didn't want to call out, and she started guilt-tripping me and saying, "It's messed up that you won't be at family dinner. I can't believe you're going to go to work on Christmas Eve. I don't understand why you can't just call out so you can have dinner with the family." This would only be my first time not going to dinner, and a few of my older cousins won't even be there because they are busy with stuff. Would I be the asshole if I don't call out of work? I'm shocked that your mom wants you to call out. That's sending a terrible message to you. Is that the kind of work ethic she has? You have a responsibility to your job and you need to learn that now. Good for you that you're taking it seriously. I hope you get hired permanently. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. If you call out, you won't get hired permanently. This is your chance to prove you are reliable. You can also compromise by stopping by to see your relatives on your way home. It isn't ideal, but this is life when you have a job in retail. Not the asshole, your job is on the line, and your mother seems oblivious to that fact. Especially, since you are hoping to be taken on as a full-time employee in the future, you must put yourself first. Your mother is wrong in not supporting you in this effort. My son works in a grocery store, so he rarely gets holiday time, either. It's not always convenient, but it's life. YWNBTA. Calling out at Christmas Eve? You mean quitting your job. Your bosses are not stupid. Prioritize your job. Not the asshole. Let her know you're open to Christmas Eve breakfast but you're not calling out sick. You work retail, hired as holiday help. Of course you're working Christmas Eve. My mom was a nurse. Never holidays off.